Hello everyone, welcome. I am Rita Marie from Rita Marie's Cross Stitching Adventure, and this is a channel about cross stitching. So if you're not into cross stitching, then I hope you find something else you can watch, because this is all about the cross stitching. I have a lot to go through. So yeah, and I just need to film now. I'm a hot mess. Don't look at the mess around me because my life is a chaos right now. So, I have a little bit of life updates. I have whips. I have plans and plans for 2022 somewhat. They're not fully done because there's some groups I don't know what the plans for next year is, so things might change as they usually do. And then I have a little bit of haul. Thank you for coming here. If you're new, then it's lovely to have you here. I hope you enjoy. And if you are a returning viewer, you most likely do enjoy my rambling and all the craziness that is going on. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for everyone that joined the giveaway I had. I'm not sure if I ever said that. With the whip parade going on. I don't remember much. The whip parade took a lot of me. So yeah, thank you for everyone that joined the giveaway. I have one package that hasn't gone in the mail because I received the address a little bit later than the others. And I haven't been able to go to the post office yet. So, but it will be sent out as quickly as I can get to the post office and do all the stuff I need to do. So, yeah. And thank you for everyone that enjoyed my whip parade. To some of my friends, I call it the Lord of the Rings trilogy length whip parade. And I actually had a viewer that told me that she had checked all other whip parades that was ever made, and mine is the longest one. I'm not sure if that is a good or a bad thing, but most of you seem to really enjoy that whip parade, so congratulations to everyone that was able to get through all of it. And it was, you could definitely see that when we got to the end of the whip parade, I was more just getting through the whips instead of like talking about them as I usually do. So yeah, but since you like the long one, maybe next time it will be even longer. Who knows? I hope not, because it took me a good amount of days. Yes, not a day, days to get that done. So, but I'm so glad that you enjoyed. It makes me really happy. So, life has been crazy. The people coming to fix our walls after the rat problems we have had, they came and put the wall up, and then they was supposed to do all that, making it look nice and then paint and stuff. They just put up the wall and then they went. So I had hoped like I could get my room back, my crafting room back, by November, December, but that is not happening. So I'm living in a mess, basically. There's boxes everywhere, and now when we have started the Christmas shopping and stuff like that, it's even more crazy. Like it's hard to get into this room. The only space that are somewhat clean, and yes, I say somewhat because there's stuff everywhere, is like this little section of the room that you can see. Yeah. So, my husband has been sick, and he went to work, and then he didn't have corona, and then he went to work even though he was a little bit sick, and then it just got better, and then it got worse again. So then he had to stay home and get another corona test that was negative. It doesn't have it, and there's just a lot of like that going on. And when he's home, I can't film, I can't get anything done in the house, because as quickly as I go out of this room, he's like all over me, and he's clingy, and he's sick. I don't want him to be clingy when he's sick. Like, leave me alone. I have a reduced immune defense. Like, my immune system is reduced, so don't go cuddling with me when you're sick. Like, I don't want to get sick. Because if I get sick, like, I get hit harder than regular people because of my immune system not being the way it should be. So yeah, it's a mess. And my husband, when he has been home, has decided that our house is too cluttered, so he wants to throw a bunch of stuff away. But the thing is, he only wants to throw away my stuff. And I'm like, no, I am actually using all of my stuff, because I regularly throw away things I don't need, or things that I don't want to keep. Like, all my cross-stitching pattern, I'm not throwing them away. Like, if they're getting away, it's being either sold or given away. Like, I don't throw away cross-stitching patterns. And that's the kind of stuff, like, he wants to get away. And it's like, well, you have a bunch of stuff that needs to be thrown away. I don't have a need for them, but I don't force you to throw it away. So yeah. Ugh, I'm irritated, I'm frustrated, and I miss having a clean home. Yeah. So that's my life update. My son's turning 6 at the end of this month, at the end of November. 6 years, so there's 2 birthday parties that we are currently in the way of fixing all the stuff for. So it's just been hectic, and it is hectic. Like, I managed to get my husband out to go grocery shopping without me today, so I can get this filmed. So I probably should get going to the whips before he gets home. Okay, so whips. My usual suspect is the 4 project that is my main focus until I finish one and then replace with another one. I will also say this is gonna be an update from, like, the whip parade, because in the whip parade I had to, because of all of the stuff all over the place, I had to clean everything away. So I only have the projects that I have worked on since at the place I put them when I'm done working on them to do a Flosstube before I put them away in the baskets. So that means there might be some stuff that you will have seen it in a whip parade. Anyway. And we'll see how much editing I'm doing on this. I'm probably going to insert what pictures it will look like. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do the whole where I was the last time. Or just rolling with it. I don't have time to find all the pictures. That's a big problem, basically. So, my usual suspect is there's 2 new for this month. So I finished 2 projects last month. A Year Down Under, and one that I apparently can't remember what I finished. So I switched them out with 2 new ones, and one of them is Moonlight Bunny. And this is what it's going to look like right here, and this is where I'm at. So I only had the cross stitching on the ears done and a tiny bit of his back. So the rest I have done this month. If you really want to know where I was the last time, go watch my whip parade. You will find it there. And there's a lot of specialty stitches. I thought there were supposed to be a lot of different kinds of specialty stitches. But the only other specialty stitch than the Jessica stitches and all the different ways to do a Jessica stitch is the flower that's a lazy daisy. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of beads like all over this place, but I'm just doing the specialty stitches for now. I am considering doing beading as I go, but I really don't want to switch out beading needle for a normal beading and vice versa. So, but it is a lot of fun to do this. And it's fun to kind of get to know the Jessica stitch better and how it works and find out how to best do the different types, because like this one where we have a Jessica stitch inside a Jessica stitch inside of a Jessica stitch, you are doing the outer one first and then going in, and then you're going in to the third one after you have done the second one. And it can be hard to like see where you're supposed to put your needle. But what I found is that I will go down the hole and I will not like tighten that leg of the stitch, and I will come up in the hole that it's supposed to come up in next, because that stitch is usually under the one leg I just did. So then I can tighten the leg when I then get that stitch, when I have that needle at the top again where the next leg is going. So I kind of found a way where I could do the Jessica stitch the way it's supposed to be done, which was really nice. But I know a lot of people also just do the inner one first and then do the outer ones. And I'm not sure if it makes a big difference in the stitch at all. I haven't tried because I'm just doing it the way it's supposed to be done. So yeah, it's a really cute design and it's taking a lot longer than I expected. Like in 30 minutes, I can get maybe around 50 legs of specialty stitches, and that's just 25 stitches. And sometimes I don't even get that because like these one, there is a lot of counting, and even the big ones, like there's a lot of counting to get to the place where you're supposed to start the stitch. So yeah, in an hour, I have maybe gotten like 3 or 4 specialty stitches done, depending on the size. And some of them takes a lot more counting and being a lot more careful about what you do. Like these round ones are actually really easy to do when you just have gotten the hang of the stitch, because you know how they're supposed to be done. But these are like star shaped. They are really hard in counting and where you're supposed to go. It's not like intuitive, oh, I go up here, I go down there. You have to refer the pattern all the time to make sure you're in the right spot. And the same with these swirls. They also needs a lot of counting. So yeah, and with a lot going on, as I have said, it's just hard to sit down and do specialty stitches. So I try to do 30 minutes every day on it, just to get a little bit more each day, and hopefully it will get done by the end of the month. Who knows? There's a lot of specialty stitches left to do, so we'll just see. So that's Moonlight Bunny. It's a design by Smart Cross Stitch on Etsy. I know they have changed their Etsy store name, but if you search Moonlight and then bunny, 2 words, Moonlight Bunny, you will get this pattern on it. You will get like if you search Moonlight Bunny cross stitch pattern, this will show up and you can be able to buy it, and you can look at the other similar types of cross stitching patterns they have. They have actually really good instructions on how to do all the specialty stitches and stuff. It can be a little bit confusing and overwhelming the first time you look at the pattern because there's so much information. But if you just take your time, read carefully, like look at all of the stuff, then you see the reason it looks so overwhelming is because they explain so detailed and so much. So it's really enjoyable. So next up is one that we are all getting to know really well now. It's Mini Still Here by Hade. Artwork by Cindy Nilsson. It's done on 25 count EC count by Swigert. And I just have worked more on her wing. This is a big wing. So that's mostly where I have been working down. So, yeah, that's where I am with that one. Haven't stitched on it that much this month, because most of the time I end up stitching on this like more at the end of the month, and then I do a whole bunch at the end of the month. So it will get its time, like everything else. Then we have the third usual suspect, Cinderella by Mirabilia. And I'm not gonna show the whole thing, but I got it on the 11 by 17 Q-snap. I have just put it on here, and I have done a whole bunch in that dress. So I have worked a lot of the time in this section, and as you can see, I have started getting the roses. So yeah, it's starting to look really good. I had like previously I had my Q-snap like here, so that's why this section is almost not stitched on, and this has a lot done. So now when I have got it on this 11 by 17, hopefully I can work more all over down. But this line right here and everything that is above here that isn't stitched is the last remaining stitches of the first page. And if you know a Mirabilia pattern, it's just those huge ones, and they're usually divided by 2, so 1 on each page. So that basically the first page. So then I have the second page left to do. Still a lot of stitching to do, but it goes like if I don't do the roses and stuff and I work like down here where there's just a bunch of colors changing all the time, but in sections, this goes give me a lot of stitches quickly. So yeah, but I am enjoying it, and I'm actually have done way more than I usually do so far this month, but I'm enjoying it so much it's gonna come out to play again because I want to stitch on it. So my plans for this month went out the window. My plans were to try and get through many of the projects I hadn't touched this year, to finish the challenge Sammy gave me like touching all of my project with a minimum of 500 stitches. Sammy J Stitches challenged me to do that. And some of our other friends, I said I didn't know if I would be able to do it in the beginning. And then when October rolled around and I did my WIP parade, I was like, oh, it would be so nice, like just stitching on the last ones I need to be stitched on. And so I started in November with a good faith that I would actually try and do it. And then I realized I am close to finishing Saving the World in the zombie run. And then I kind of got stuck doing Cinderella and my zombie run pictures. And so yeah, I'm not gonna get any challenges done because I keep changing what I actually want to do. And when I did a lot of those different projects and switching all the time, I totally lost my stitching bug. I had like 3 days where I didn't stitch at all. So apparently that doesn't work so well for me. So now I'm trying to stitch a lot of my zombie run pieces, and then in between zombie run pieces I do maybe one other project. So we'll see how many I can knock out before November is done, and see what the challenges will be in December, if I maybe still can try and get 500 stitches in all of my cross stitch project by the end of the year. So we'll see. Next up is the last usual suspect. I chose to switch in Lion King as my fourth focus piece. It's a kit by Disney Dreams Collection. The artwork is by Thomas Kincaid. I have converted the floss to DMC because it's a kit, and I'm not using the Ada, I'm using Easy Count instead, and this is where I'm at now. So what I have done this month so far is I have backstitched all of Nala, because yes, it is Nala. If you look at the big picture of this, they have like a big version also. This is a smaller version. Timon and Pumbaa is in that big picture, and you can also get them as a small picture for the kit. I have that kit, which means it can't be Mufasa and Sarabi, which is Simba's parents, because Timon and Pumbaa wasn't there when that happened. So since Timon and Pumbaa is in the original big picture, I know this has to be Simba and Nala and their daughter Kiara. So this is Kiara. She's backstitch. And then Rafiki. Some backstitching, some cross stitching. I'm doing the character mostly 1/1. And then in some places I'm doing 2/2 as the rest of the picture, just to give some dimension. And I worked a lot on the sky here on this side. So I'm kind of trying to get this side stitched. Just because, as you can see, there's not a lot of room on the edges. I'm frugal with my pieces. So yeah, there's not a room on the edges, so I'm hopefully can get like more done on this side, because then I can put it in a Q snap, because right now I have to have it in a small hoop, and I don't like working with a small hoop. So that's just me. So that's my Lion King. And with those 2 new projects in the zombie run piece, that's also 2 more projects that I have done 500 stitches on, because both of them I have put in more than 500 stitches on so far this month. Then we get to some of the other projects. I'm gonna pause right here. So this is Jack and Sally. You can't find it anymore on Etsy. I at least haven't found it, so there's like no need to say the company name because you can't find them. Sorry, not sorry. Maybe you can find a different version if you just search Jack and Sally cross stitching on Etsy. But a lot of these fandom pieces and the company that carries the fandom pieces, they get taken down. So it's really hard to find fandom pieces to stitch. And this is where I'm at. I think I did 1,000 stitches on this one, mostly in black. There's a little bit of gray stitching going on, so it's not just two colors. There's not just one color, it's actually two. But it's not a lot of colors, so yeah, I do enjoy this. It's very fiddly stitching like this section of the circle going around them, but it's fun. And right here we have the top of Jack's head. So it was nice getting that pulled out. Then I pulled out another Halloween project because at the beginning of November I apparently wanted to stitch on all my Halloween project that I didn't get to in October. So apparently November is my new Halloween month. Who knew? This is stitched on a 46 count Bergen linen. It's in the colorway Carnival by Extrude Design. Oops, over here. And this is where I'm at now. I finished a lot of these small things going on here. And I started this circle and I actually finished down to almost the edge right here. I think there's like 2 more stitches underneath this part, this section. So yeah, I'm basically at the bottom now. So next time I was wondering maybe working over to this side. So we'll see. I'm not stitching in the call for colors. Instead, I'm using Silk for You PR70. 70 Silks for You. So it's a big hank that I bought, and yeah, that's basically what I do with my big hanks of silk. I cut them, and then I will pull some of the lengths out. And I will kind of, when I pull the lengths out, I will still keep that loop in one end. So even though they're all cut down here, I will then just wrap it around like this. Put one finger down here to hold it tight. So I put the 2 lengths together and then release, and it wraps around itself. And then I put it in the bag. And when I want a strand, I just pull out one strand and stitch with it. So usually I have like one of the full 6 strands pulled out, and then I have just remove one strand from that one big one. Or I actually finished the last strand of last I stitched on it. That's what I do with silks. I'm not very fancy pantsy. And the rest of the hank is just in this plastic bag. It came from Silks for You. Usually I will just have it like rest of the hank just in there. But with this one, I actually have put put several of them into floss away bags and put it on a ring. And that's because I have used it in so many different projects. Like I had one for the black pearl I finished earlier this year. I have a kitted up project that has like a length. So this silk, it's being used a lot of different places. So, and I know I want to use them on some more projects. So that's why I just did this to have them in. Just because then it's easy to, next time I have a project where I want to use this, I can just take one of the floss away bags and lay in that project to use for that project. And when it's done, it goes back on here. Okay, next up is Full Metal Alchemist. That's also by Smart Cross Stitch Design on Etsy. And this is where I'm at. So I had previously done like 200 stitches because I used it in one of the challenges I did. And I couldn't, like I had to do 200 stitches on a lot of different projects. So that meant I needed to pull them back out to do at least 300 more. So I did 500 more stitches on this and worked mainly on this side. And I actually found that it's Pattern Keeper compatible. The version that is not with backstitching. Because you get one version that has backstitching and one that does not have backstitching. So that was nice. So the biggest problem is the counting because there's both half stitches and cross stitches right now. But it's only the sky color I'm doing half stitches on because the pattern didn't really say which part were supposed to be half stitches and not. So I'm just doing the sky half or 10th stitch, and then everything else I'm doing full cross. Next up is Grimm's Fairy Tales. I'm not sure if you have seen all of this or not, because this project bag have two projects. I know I stitched on one of them in November. I'm not sure if I stitched both of them in November or if the second one was in October. So you might see a project again. So this is Grimm's Fairy Tales by Cloud's Factory. It was a sale in 2020, I believe, last year. And this is where I'm at. So I finished all of the stitching on Hansel and Gretel. I did some stitching on Rapunzel and some of the borders and all of those Quaker style motifs in between. So I actually did feel I did get a lot done. So that's nice. I think I did 1,000 stitches on this one. And I have all of the fairy tales written down. So if I ever like wondered what they were, I have them. Because some of them isn't that known to me. So Hansel and Gretel, most people know that. So from left to right, top to bottom, you have Hansel and Gretel, you have Rapunzel, Cinderella, the Princess and the Frog, Town Musicians of Bremen. Like, a lot of people have seen this symbol and know it's a Grimm's fairy tale, but haven't heard the fairy tale. So that one is also fairly known. Then you have the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Most people have heard of the Pied Piper. Then you have the Fisherman and his Wife. That is one I haven't heard of before, but it was easy to find which one it was. The one that was the hardest is the girl that there's a lot of stars and stuff round. around her. And that fairy tale is called Star Money. All of them is from the brother Grimms. And the fairy tale isn't really big, so when that showed up, I actually, like, I didn't stitch the fairy tale last year before, like, the end, but I did keep up with, like, what fairy tales came out and what they are, and I looked them up and read, like, some of the fairy tales, especially this one because it wasn't that big. So that's actually the little and cute fairy tale. A little bit more unusual than the other Grimm fairy tales because they can be very dark. So I actually liked Star Money. Then you have Little Red Riding Hood, Briar Rose, Puss in Boots. Most of you know about Puss in Boots because of Shrek. And then you have Rumpelstiltskin, which, if you have seen the series Storybrooke, he comes up as one of the fairy tale characters. So yeah, that's the different fairy tales, if you were interested. If not, then sorry, not sorry. Usually if I say, like, if I suddenly show my silk, how I store them, it's usually because somebody has asked me to. So that's just my way of showing it, like, naturally when I'm going through the different projects. Then we have Magical Creatures Calendar by Cloud's Factory. Yes, I do like Cloud's Factory. I am using all the called for weeks I work. The same with Grimm's Fairy Tale. I'm using all the called for colors. And this is where I'm at now. So I got this 3 done, which can be hard to see because it's mixing in with the fabric, but it's a lot easier now to see when you actually have all of it stitched. And then I did this light purple one, started the centaur, finished the border that divides the different parts right here. So that is the bottom of January block. So yeah, I got some more stitching here, and sometimes when I stitch these projects, I just stitch all over the place, a little bit here and a little bit there, whatever is inside my Q-snap. So I also think I did 1,000 stitches on this one. And this one is hand-dyed fabric by me. I think it's 18 count. And this one is a 20 count Ada called, I think it's Dragon Egg by XJU Design. It was a fabric of the month, so it's not like you can easily find it. But she has a lot of nice fabrics. She doesn't do a lot of sparkly fabric, but the fabric of the month you can get in a lot of different counts, which I thought was really nice, especially this 20 count. So I think a 3-month subscription to the 20 count Ada, and I loved all of them. If I had more money, I would definitely subscribe more, but I'm not made of money. So the next one, I actually finished the stitches for last night. So this is Bird of Happiness. I have just googled what the name really is. It's a kit by Realis. I'm using all the kit stuff because the fabric is pre-printed. And this is where I got to. So I did 1,000 stitches on this. I did a lot of the head. I think I just had like the red and yellows and the beak. So everything around the eye and from the eye down is done. And most of the wing. I think I just have 3 of the feathers on the side done. And like the shape of the wing over here. So everything inside here is filled in, and it ended up matching up with where the head came down. So that's always nice to know that you counted correctly. So I love this. It's so beautiful. But it's now going away. Then the next one is one that was UFO'd for a time because I did it 1/1 on 20 count Ada. Easy count by Swigert, and I didn't like it. The floss was fraying all the time. It's just, I didn't like working on it. So instead of just scrapping the whole thing, what I decided to do was I would this year pull it out of the UFO pile and start stitching 2/2. And yes, you can actually see on camera right here is where I started doing 2/2. You can see it's a little bit more dense, so I might have to go back later and just stitch over the rest that was already done 1/1. What I then will do is I will just use 2 strands and do the last leg 10 stitch with the 2 strands, because I tried that down here and then you can't see a difference at all, because then I just used the floss I had on my needle. It was a little bit more stitches into where I already stitched, so that's most likely what I'm going to do. Or I will just keep it as it is. It's a moody sky, so I will see how it looks when I get a little bit more done. But for now, I'm super happy with the 2/2. Doing 2/2, then I have to use a 26 size needle instead of 28, which I usually use 1/1. And with the 26 needle, I suddenly don't have any problems with the floss fraying on me. It might be because the fabric has softened up a little bit because it was really stiff. But it's also because the needle is thicker, so it's like making the holes bigger as it goes down. So when the floss comes, there's more room for the floss to go through. And because there's more room, it doesn't, if the Ada is really stiff, if there's more room, the floss will not touch the sides so much, because that is what's fraying them, touching that hard Ada going down and up and up, down and up. So I'm really happy with it. I did 500 stitches, and it's definitely going to be something that eventually will be a focus whip to stitch on, because I do love 20 count 2/2 full cross. So I'm glad I figured that out. And the reason I'm not saying it's gonna be like on my whip list for next year, I'm gonna talk more about that when I get to plans. Next up, we have Humans After All by Cloud's Factory. This is also one of their previous sales. I wonder if it was 2019? Might be. I don't remember. So I'm doing a few conversions on this one. The border, the blue small border is supposed to be a week's dye work. I'm using hand dye by Rolanda instead, and instead of the Etoile, I'm just gonna do DMC light effects for that. So this is where I'm at now. I had previously put in 200 stitches, so now I put in 500 stitches, and I managed to count wrong, so this is fragged, and that's why I worked suddenly down here, which I never would have done. But I needed the stitches, and the stitches I had done, I didn't want to frog them before I took a picture, so I finished the 500 stitches and then I removed these, so there's less than 500 stitches actually put in right now. But I did do 500 stitches. So yeah. So this blue firework thing here. That's in the DMC light effects. And it's, if you ever have trouble with DMC light effects, Carolyn Masio on Flosstube, she's one of those first Flosstubers, and she did it for several years and suddenly totally stopped. I don't know why. I know a lot of her close friends probably do, but I was later Flosstuber, so I'm not one of them. So she disappeared from Flosstube, but her videos are still up, and she has a video about using metallic floss, especially like metallic floss you get from kits, because they aren't always the best to use. Like, they're very similar to the DMC light effects, and she gives a lot of good advice on how to use the metallic DMCs. So definitely, if you have problem and absolutely hate DMC light effects, go check her out, because her tips and tricks really helps when it comes to all metallics, making it so you can handle stitching with all of the different metallics. And that is also one of the videos I want to do, because I have taken a lot of her tips, and then I had make it my own, found a few more tips for myself. So hopefully I can get that video done, because a lot of people have asked me about the metallics, because a lot of you know I do work with DMC light effects and I don't hate it. Like, yeah, it takes more time and you need to be more careful, but it's not the end of the world having to use DMC light effects. Like, it's fine. It's totally fine. Next up is Music Teacher House by Ronnie Rowe Designs. He is the one that I know of that originally started with the pen and ink designs. That means this is a design that only uses one color. You use one color, and it's charted to use 310, which is black, DMC black, and you stitch it on just a white piece of fabric. Of course, you can mix it up if you want. You can use like a blue color. I think some of the projects would look wonderful actually switching away from black. So he has like a lot of both designs and stuff like that. And I think if you want to mix and tricks with the colors and stuff, I think you can get a lot of fun versions of the same design. So I pulled mine out, and I think, I'm not sure if this is 500 or 1,000 stitches. It looks like I have done a lot, but the thing is, like, there's just one stitch here and there all over the place. And it's this was actually really hard to stitch on. I actually think I just did 500 stitches because it was so hard. Because all of the counting, and you count, like, the things are all over the place, so you really need to be careful about the counting. So it's not Pattern Keeper compatible. I tried, couldn't get it to work, but most people get it as a physical copy. I was so lucky. I contacted Ronnie Rowe myself through a tips from Stitching Jules on Flosstube. She said, like, contact him and he might make it possible to get PDF for people that are overseas. So I did contact him, and he was so kind to let me buy the PDF instead of the printed chart, because a lot of the printed chart either disappear in the mail or they end up coming 6 months later than what they're supposed to. So yeah. But I do love the design. I love working on it, and I think I just picked a really bad spot to work on this design, because this is the place where there's like a lot of stitches really spread out. If I had instead started like at the top in the middle where the house is, there is a lot of stitches that is more compact and that's easier to stitch. And then I would have a reference point for all of these single stitches all over the place. So, but I do love it. And if you're wondering why a lot of the black or monochromatic designs are out, is because there's been a lot of stitch on black color or black, blue, and gold, and then it's like, okay, I'm pulling out this one because it has black and I can do a lot of just black stitches the way I stitch. So yeah, that's the reason I have done a lot of those. Okay, we have, no, that I haven't worked on. I think that is all I have worked on. I'm gonna go double check. Yes, that was all of the projects I have worked on so far in November. So what I have done in my spreadsheet that I use all the time, I had to change my spreadsheet up from how I did originally do it. But what I did is here on the side, I just put in like all of the project that has like less than 500 stitches left to do. Then I put in the oldest projects that I haven't touched so far. Then I put in all of the December project because these I'm most likely going to work on in December when it's Christmas. And then you have the rest. And it's a long list. And I just put in some algorithms to show me like how many projects I have left that I haven't finished the 500 stitches on. And so far that's 40 projects. So yeah, it is a lot. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it. But the thing is, if I get the spirit over me in December, when usually there's a lot of different types of challenges than what we previously have done. Some challenges often takes a break in December. Some challenges open up for a lot of different things. So what I know is if I have a good stitchy day, I can easily do 500 stitches. I usually do almost 1,000 stitches in one day. Meaning if in December, if I get some good stitching days and not too many bad ones, I can get 30 projects finished with 500 stitches in December. Like, I can do that. So, and I can get more if I really push myself. I'm not sure if I want to. And as I said, I am somewhat losing my stitching bug, but who knows when December runs around. So it's not a challenge that is impossible to accomplish, but it is a challenge that is going to be hard to accomplish if I really want to do it. So we will just have to see if I can work it somehow in November, getting more projects worked on. But hopefully I can get some more projects worked on in November, because that will definitely make it more possible to finish the, I just call it the Sammy challenge in December. So that is my plans, somewhat. I mix through finishing, as I said, all of my projects or doing the zombie run, and what I'm gonna end up doing depends on what challenges comes in December, because I know some of the groups already have said they have special events or challenges happening in December. So depending on what that is depending on what I will focus on. Also, if I can get a lot of the zombie run miles done in November, then there is a chance that maybe I go for that. I don't know. That is a little bit harder to do because it means I need a lot of stitches. I don't think I can do that in November. So it is what it is. And then some people ask me about the no new starts. I am thinking about doing the 22 and 22 for 2022. So if you're not interested in that or haul, then thank you for coming, because that's the last things I have to talk about and show. So 22 and 22, I have what I'm going to do. Sammy has given a similar challenge next year to a lot of her stitching friends, like touch all your projects kind of thing. I don't think I want to do it next year. Like touch all of my projects, because I don't enjoy that. I really don't. I like focusing on projects until they're done and then go to the next one. We're all different, so different challenges is what fits us. That is also why I want to try and finish Sammy's challenge this year, so I can say that I have done her challenge, and then it doesn't feel like something I need to do next year. So, but what she has done with her challenge is like you can either try to do that, touch all your whips, or like you can do a version that fits more for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna set a stitch count to accomplish on all my active whips, and my active whips will be the 22 whips I'm gonna have in no new starts. And a lot of you wonder what all of them are. I don't know. Because my plan was never to start the year with 22 active whips. I want to have a good amount of projects that I can put in if I feel like it, and if I want to start something new. So my plan is to actually only have around 7 to 12 active whips at the beginning of the year, and then go from there to see what it will be. So with Mini Still Hair and Cinderella being so far off finishes as they are, those are going to be on the list. Because I don't think I can finish any of them before the year is done. So those two will definitely be on the list. So you have the oldest full coverage project, and you have the Cinderella is a project that is a big lady. Then I'm most likely going to have the oldest non-full coverage project. If I quickly pull out my whip list to the side here. And that also isn't like a big lady. We end up with Tapestry by Ink Circle. And then I want to have the oldest non-full coverage that has a lot going on. And that's Epic Storybook Princesses. I think... No, there's a mistake on this whip list. Because I'm pretty sure that's not Epic Storybook Princesses. I'm pretty sure that's Brooks Books Alice in Wonderland series. That's the oldest one with a lot going on. So that is the one I'm gonna have on there. And I want one of the smaller full coverage projects that are like more big blocks of colors. Again, I'm just going with the oldest one, and that's Aladdin by Donna Stitch. I want a Halloween project on. And again, I'm choosing the oldest one, and that's Halloween Calendar by Tiny Modernist. And then I want a Christmas project, which, again, the oldest one, because that's usually what I like to do. And I am pretty sure that's Santa's Secret, a Dimensions kit. So, and I'm gonna have my Frosty Forest on there because I want to start doing the Frosty Forest Stitch with me again. It might come a few changes to that series, the A to C Stitch with me. Because what I am thinking is a lot of the border and stuff, like I'm soon done with the top part of the design. So what I am thinking is I'm just gonna do all of the borders and do it as a speed run, because the border is the same on all 9 patterns. So I'm just going to do all of the, as I said, borders on all 3 at least on the next row as a time-lapse video, or just speed it up and then do the stitching inside. So yeah, just because it takes so much longer stitching when talking, and those border goes really quickly if I can just focus and not talk and instead count. So that's what I'm gonna try at least. And I'm not sure how many projects I have said now. Maybe we have got close to like 7 projects of my list. And there's a big chance I'm gonna have the coaster projects. I haven't had a coaster project this year. I'm really missing it. So that's one of the ones I'm gonna start, the coaster projects again, to do it for Christmas presents and stuff. What else was I thinking about? I was also wondering if maybe I would have a second full coverage project. So, because I have a lot of Hades, and have the second one be a non-Hade and not one of the blocky color ones in that sense. So maybe like Princess Serenity 2 by Tilton Craft, something like that. I'm not sure about that one. We'll see. But yeah. And then I have been thinking of having 3 projects that will be like a large, a medium, and a small. I'm not sure if I need another large, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of them with big sizes. But yeah, I am thinking, so when I decide out these plans, what I do is I kind of make a category, and then I find what project fits that category. So there's a good chance I'm gonna have a large, medium, and small category, and there I can basically choose which big project, which medium, which small I want to have. It doesn't have to be the oldest one. It might be a Christmas project or a gift for someone, something like that. And have a ornament category. So for like my ornaments, my Mill Hill ornaments and stuff like that. So if I finish one, I put in another one. And those, I haven't many started, so that means there will be a new starts when one of those are finished. And the rest is gonna be more when the year comes around, and we start doing all of the challenges. If suddenly there is a challenge I really want to join and it means I need to either start or pick up one of my projects that isn't on my active whip list, I can put them into my active whip list, be one of the 22 projects I stitch on for the year. So I'm never gonna have more than 22 projects actively going at a time. But as I said, if I finish one, then a new one will be replaced. Like if I finish Cinderella, it would either be replaced by the second Cinderella I am doing or Winter Queen by Mirabilia, which is my oldest like big lady. If I finish Tapestry, then the next one on the list would be either Magical Night or Fairy Tale Land 2. So you kind of see, even though I'm saying I'm only gonna have 22 whips, it doesn't mean it's only 22 whips of my whole list of projects I'm going to work on, because some of them I will get done. I know I will get them done. I have a plan to try and finish a lot of the medium and small ones, just because I don't have a need to have a lot of small and medium projects. I only have a need to have one or two going at a time. And what I'm also going to try and get done is make a list of all of the projects I have, like digitally, books, magazines, hard copy, paper pattern, all of that. I'm gonna try and put in a list, and I have tried that before and it hasn't worked because the list just gets too long. So what I'm gonna do is divide the list into different size categories, because that way if I finish a small, either next year or some of the years down the road, I can see which one I have that I want to start, and they're just gonna be in an order that I feel like they're not gonna be in a special order more than what I feel like or how they show up. And I'm also gonna divide them in digital patterns, books, magazines, so it's easy for me to see, okay, that's that project, that's in a book, and I will have the book written down what book it is, and then I can go and see. Just to have a place to easier pick projects, because what happens a lot of the time I have noticed is if I get a challenge to say stitch on a project that has a sunflower, instead of having to go through all of my magazines and books and stuff like that, I usually search online on Etsy and I find the pattern and I buy the pattern, and that doesn't work well unless I know of a pattern like immediately, like that's from a magazine. I go and look through my magazines, I find it. So yeah, I'm gonna try and make a list over the patterns to stitch in the future, and categorize them by size to easier see what I want to have, because I like a lot of the big designs, and that way I can have a lot of large designs on my whip list, but I don't need to have like a lot of the medium and small ones, because they are fairly easy to get done if I just sit and stitch on them. Like I think it was in 2018 I tested out how long it would for me to finish like a medium-sized project if that was all I worked on, and I finished in 7 days, in a week. So I really can finish those pretty quickly. Of course, some medium designs are a lot bigger, so they will take longer time, or there is more confetti with them, or more stitching, like a full coverage. Well, yeah. So that is my plans. So next part of the haul, of course, Vicky from Stitching Button. I can never stop buying stuff from her. I need to ban myself from looking on her Facebook page. So I bought a project bag. I needed a Disney princess one, and she had this one. I do actually really like Frozen, so that's nice. And I think maybe this is a gift from her. I'm not sure. I think so. I buy too much stuff from her. I don't remember what I bought and what I didn't buy. And then I bought mostly needle minders this time. So we have mine. If you ever have seen Finding Nemo. Of course, I needed to have Gizmo. And then a penguin. I had to buy Anna when I did buy the Frozen bag. Maybe you want to see the inside with Elsa. I like this bag. And we have Baby Yoda with an eaten ear. Somewhere along the way, it managed to break off, which it came on this card. And it's amazing that Gizmo's ears didn't break off, just one of the Baby Yoda ones. And the piece of the ear must have fallen out when I opened the package or something, so disappeared somewhere on the floor, I don't know. So I can't glue it on because I can't find the piece. So, but if I find the piece, I will of course glue it on. And then I needed these ones, so Harry Potter fans know this one, Supernatural fans know this one, and my Doctor Who fans really will get a good laugh out of this one. Working off my adipose. And yeah, people that haven't seen Doctor Who really don't understand why working off my adipose is funny. It's super funny. And I love it. I love the adipose. So that's my Stitch and Button. And on the project bag, you can see the name. She's on Facebook. She has a store on Facebook, so just search Stitch and Button on Facebook and you can see a lot of good stuff. If you don't want to be enabled and use money, don't go and look at her page. And then I, on a cross-stitch selling group on Facebook, there was a seller, she was really kind and helpful. She sold some kits, and it was a decent price, so I jumped on. So she had Dimensions, Christmas Traditions. I really like the Dimensions Christmas kits, and usually they're really hard to get, so I jumped on that one. And the main reason I bought from her is because she had Black Swan Iris, and it's the kit. So both of these are kits. So it's kitted with the DMCs and the fabric. So looking forward to when I'm gonna stitch on that. And lastly, Vicky from Reading and Stitching, she had a giveaway. And she did give me a really cute card with a really cute sentiments in it. Together with the patterns I want from magazines. And there's a lot of them. So we have Kindly Kris Kringle Christmas decorations. And she did staple them together, which is really nice. Sugar and Spice. Snow Garden. This is a lot of just small Christmas ornaments. This is Advent Calendar. The designer is Doreen Jones. I can tell by the style. And Father Christmas. You can see I went for all the Christmas ones. And this giveaway was several months ago, so I have been in a Christmassy mood. And then Signs of Spring. I just love all those houses. I usually don't stitch the types of designs, but I do love them and I love how they look. So now I need to find out if I actually like stitching them. And then some more sparkling country ornaments. So thank you so much, Vicky, for the giveaway and getting those patterns. I'm really gonna enjoy stitching on them. Might not start any of them before next year when it's Christmas, because this year I'm not starting anything. Even though a lot of people really are trying to get me to start something. And now I'm like, really? Really? Like, there's a month and some days left of the year. I'm not gonna break now. Like, I have almost lasted 11 months not starting a single thing. I haven't even, like, in the No New Start group, I haven't used my freebie because my plan was never to use that freebie. I was never going to start anything in 2021. That means when No New Starts 2021 stops, I'm still not gonna start anything. Like, I'm not gonna start anything this year. So, you're not gonna make me break now. Even though some people really are trying to. Really hard. So. But it's not that difficult to resist, especially now, because it's like, well, it's not that long until January, and I can have a new year, new start if I absolutely want to start something soon. So. Yeah. And in reality, every time I start to think about, oh, that would be so nice to do, like, oh, Klaus Factory is doing that sale next year, and oh, that sale sounds so fun, or Story Stitches, I think her name is, on Facebook. She have had like the Nightmare Before Christmas sale, and now she's doing a Christmas sale, and she's doing an a Beauty and the Beast sale, and so far I'm really liking all of them. But I'm like, well, I can always start them next year if I really want to, but what I at least can do is they're free sale, so I just save the patterns, and if I don't do it next year, I can do it the year after or the year after. Like, I don't have a need to start anything right now. I'm more in the mental space of wanting to instead finish stuff. So I just like my 4 pieces that I focus on for Zombie Run, like, I'm more in the headspace of just working on those. So yeah, that's how that's going. I will try and get a Flosstube up at least after Christmas, before the new year, hopefully, or when the new year has started. Who knows? maybe I get 2 more videos up before the year ends. But at least I'm gonna have 1 more video where you will see exactly what I did decide on my list when I have actually written it down and made the spreadsheet and everything. I'm gonna show it on a Flosstube, what I have so far. And what I'm most likely going to do throughout the year is just show that list. And like when things go out, things will be replaced, and I will color code it somehow so you can see that, oh, this is a new project because I finished something. So yeah. So that will come in the future, hopefully. And that's that. I think I have said everything I need to say. And I probably have said a lot I didn't need to say. But you still enjoy, so I'm good with that. So I'm gonna love you and leave you. Thank you so much for watching. If you're sticking with me to the end, good job. I think a lot of my viewers are a lot like me. I like the longer videos. I don't know why. I just, usually the smaller ones I don't enjoy as much. So the longer ones are fun. So yeah. Also, one of the problems with my stitching is there's a new game that I really, really want to buy. And it's on sale right now. It's called Grow Song of the Evertree. And it's such a beautiful game. So there's a big chance I'm gonna cave and buy the game. Which means there will not be much stitching going on while I play the game. That's also one of the problems this year with my stitching, is I have played a lot of games. It's I'm missing playing games, and like the time needs to be taken from somewhere, and then it's usually my stitching time. So, but we'll see. Maybe I won't buy the game yet. Maybe I will wait until an even better sale. Who knows? So, that's it. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great time. If I don't see you before Christmas, have a great, happy Christmas. For everyone celebrating Thanksgiving soon, or have celebrated Thanksgiving, then happy Thanksgiving. And I will see you all later. Bye.